Hello friends, very warm welcome to all of you. In my previous session, we have studied about the origin of Harappan civilization. But in this session, we would study about the nature of Harappan civilization. As we know, the Harappan civilization was an urban civilization. We find significant characteristics of urban civilization in the Harappan civilization. The most striking feature in the Harappan civilization was developed town planning and proper arrangement of sanitization. The sites of Harappan civilization were developed urban centers. The cities had been developed on the grid pattern. The main routes were intersecting at right angles. The houses were made of burnt bricks and there were proper arrangements of sanitization in almost all the houses. There were wells and bathrooms in all the houses. There were proper arrangement for the dirty water. The dirty water was thrown into the drains of streets. Then it went into the drains of the main route. There were main holes in the main drain of the main route, and there were proper arrangement of cleaning of the main hole, and we find a significant development of sanitations in the Harappan civilization. Moreover, the development of the city was on the basis of citadel and lower portion of the city. I mean to say, the city had been developed between two parts. The first part was the citadel and the second part was the lower town. The citadel had been developed for the ruling class. The people of the ruling class lived in the citadel. It was a fortified portion of the city, but the lower town was related to the common people. The people of the lower class or the people of the middle class lived in this portion, and we find significant structures in the citadel too. We find the evidence of granary in the citadel in the city of Mohenjo-daro. We also find the evidence of a public bath in the city of Mohenjo-daro. And we find other significant structures in the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. On that basis, we can say that the Harappan civilization was an urban civilization. The next striking feature of the Harappan civilization was that it was a Bronze Age civilization. We find many articles made of bronze in the Harappan civilization. We can imagine that the Harappan civilization had advanced science and technology. It had state-of-the-art science and technology, and the people of the Harappan civilization were familiar with making bronze, which is made by mixing tin with copper. We can imagine how developed the Harappan civilization was in terms of science and technology. Now we will try to analyze the social, economic, political and cultural aspect of the life of the Harappan people. The first, the economy. The economy of the Harappan civilization was quite developed. The surplus in the agriculture sector as well as developed trade and commerce paved the way for the development of urbanization in the Harappan civilization. We find the evidences of developed agriculture in the Harappan civilization. Although we do not find evidences of hoes or plowshare in the Harappan civilization, as these things were made of wood. But we find evidences of furrowed fields in the city of Kalibangan. So we can say that the people were familiar with the plowing of fields in the Harappan civilization. Moreover, the people used to sow seeds in the month of November and they reaped their harvests in the month of April before the floods in the Indus region. The fields of the Indus plain were quite fertile. That's why there was opportunity for the surplus production in the agriculture sector that paved the way for the developed urban centers in the Harappan civilization. Moreover, we find the evidences of domestication of animals in the Harappan civilization. The people in the Harappan civilization domesticated many animals such as cattle, sheep, goats, elephants, rhinoceros, etc. But we don't find the evidence of cow in the Harappan civilization, but we find the evidence of humped bull in the Harappan civilization, which was a significant animal in the Harappan civilization. Moreover, we find the evidence of unicorn in the Harappan civilization. The people of the Harappan civilization were acquainted with the elephant, which was a significant animal in the Harappan civilization. So we can say that the people of Harappan civilization domesticated many more animals for their use. We find the evidence of developed trade and commerce in the Harappan civilization. The developed trade and commerce paved the way for the development of urbanization in the Harappan civilization. The developed urban centers were on the basis of developed trade and commerce. We find two types of trade and commerce in the Harappan civilization. First, the internal trade. Second, the external trade. As far as internal trade is concerned, the people of Harappan civilization traded with the centers in the Harappan civilization. We find evidences that the people in a specific region or in a specific site traded with the people of other sites. Moreover, we find the evidences of external trade in the Harappan civilization. The people of Harappan civilization traded with the people of Mesopotamia Egypt, Bahrain, Falka, etc. We find many more evidences in Mesopotamia, Egypt, etc. The people of Harappan civilization exported many more things. The exportable items were manufactured goods, jewelry made of gold, silver, copper, bronze, etc., sell goods and grains. We can say that the trade balance was in favor of the Harappan people. That's why the Harappan civilization flourished in that period. Moreover, the people of Harappan civilization imported many more things such as gold, copper, and ivory, etc. They imported gold from Kolar and Afghanistan. Further, they imported silver from Iran and Afghanistan. They also imported copper from the Khetri region in Rajasthan, and they imported many more things from other regions. On that basis, we can say that the trade and commerce in the Harappan civilization was developed, that paved the way for the development of urban centers in the Harappan civilization. Next striking feature is the development of crafts and other things in the Harappan civilization. We find evidences of developed art and crafts in the Harappan civilization. We find evidences of cotton in the Harappan civilization. On that basis, we can say that the people of Harappan civilization were familiar with weaving cotton. They wove cotton on a large scale. On that basis, they exported the cotton items. Moreover, they made many more things in the Harappan civilization, such as they made potteries and they made many things for daily use, and they also familiar with jewelry. We find evidences of jewelry in the Harappan civilization. They also made beads. We find evidences of bead factory in the Harappan civilization. They also made amulets, which is related to spell and charms. The people of the Harappan civilization were familiar with the spells and charms. That's why they used amulets on a large scale. Moreover, the people of the Harappan civilization made many statues and many figurines too. On that basis, the art and crafts was quite developed in the Harappan civilization. The political life of the Harappan people. As we know, the script of Harappan civilization has not been deciphered. That's why we are unable to know much about the political life of the Harappan people, but on the basis of archaeological evidences, we can conclude that the political life of the Harappan people was also developed. Although the archaeologists and historians have propounded many theories or many principles related to the political life of the Harappan people. One view regarded that the political life of the Harappan people was related to the priest king. I mean to say, the priest king ruled over the Harappan civilization. But this theory or this view has been rejected. One view regarded that all the cities found in the Harappan civilization were the parts of a vast empire. But there are many there are many objections against this theory or this principle too. But the many scholars regarded that the Harappan civilization was administered by the merchant class. This theory is most relevant, or this view is the most relevant, and on that basis we can say the people of the Harappan civilization were regulated or were administered by the merchant class. The merchant class was the ruling class in the Harappan civilization. The social life of the Harappan people. On the basis of archaeological evidences, we can conclude that the social life of the Harappan people was also quite developed. Although we are unable to get written evidence on social life, as the script of Harappan civilization has not been deciphered, but on the basis of archaeological sources, we can conclude that the society of the Harappan people was stratified. There were many layers in the society of Harappan people. At the upper layer of the Harappan society was the ruling class. The people who ruled over the Harappan empire were at the first ladder of the society. Next were the bureaucrats and other officers who were responsible for the administration in the centers of the Harappan civilization, as we find various proper arrangements in the Harappan civilization which was not possible without a system of bureaucrats. This was not possible without a system of bureaucrats. On that basis, we can say that there were bureaucrats available in the Harappan civilization who were responsible for the systematic administration of the Harappan centers. Next were the common people. The common people were the farmers, the artisans and other people. These people were living in the lower town, and these were very common people. These were the taxpayers, and taxes were paid in grains. That's why we find evidences of granaries in the Harappan civilization. The taxes as grains were stored in the granaries, and in the time of famine, wages were paid in grains. we find no evidence of currency in the Harappan civilization. On that basis, we can say the barter system was prevalent in the Harappan civilization. The religious life of the Harappan people. The people of the Harappan civilization were worshipping many gods. They were polytheist. They were worshippers of many gods. We find the evidences of Mother Goddess. We find evidences of Pashupati Shiv. We find evidences of tree cult. We find evidences of serpent cult. We find evidences of phallus worship in the Harappan civilization. On that basis, we can say the people of the Harappan civilization were polytheists and they followed various cults in their life. We find evidences of systematic science and technology in the Harappan civilization. We find evidences of weights and measures in the Harappan civilization. The people of Harappan civilization used 16 and its multiples for their calculations. At the upper level, they used decimal system, but at the lower level they used binary system in their calculations. We find evidences of the development of bronze in the Harappan civilization. On that basis, we can say that the level of chemistry was quite developed in the Harappan civilization. We find the evidences of scripts in the Harappan civilization too. We find almost 4,000 words or signs in the script of the Harappan people. The script of the Harappan people was pictographic, and as we know, the script has not been deciphered till now. On that basis, we are unable to get much more things about the Harappan civilization.